Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Happy 4th of July. I don't know if you can see right there, but it says 4th of July. That's when I'm recording this. I'm trying to get some footage, talk about a few things. It's been a while since I've been on the bike. Been a long while since I've made any videos, but trying to get back at it again. And so one thing I'm doing too is trying out a new dual camera setup. Hi. Managed to get a little bracket and some other things to try a dual camera setup. Most of the other motovloggers that I've seen that have that setup, it looks really cool. I wanted to give it a try, and I was looking at some of the cheaper like non-GoPro brand cameras, and almost got one of those, and then realized I had a stack of gift cards saved up, and so managed to get a new GoPro for the price of one of the cheaper models. Anyway, so I'm gonna try that out and see how it works. Looks like a lot of fun, but also a little steeper learning curve, so we'll see. So I wanted to talk about some of my likes and dislikes. I could talk more about some of like how it rides and things like that, but that's kind of been done, and that's also really subjective. You know, what might be really comfortable to somebody could be really uncomfortable to somebody else, and everybody's got a different body type. So mostly this is just personally my opinion, things that I like about the Trident after living with it for a few months. And so we're gonna let's take a left turn here and see. Ooh, what's that? All right, so I'll say one thing I really like. I'll see if I can try and get it to work for you guys. One thing I really like is the self-canceling turn signals. There's two ways to set it up. You can have manual, works like normal. You got the button, you flick it, you can press to cancel, and that's it. But then there's auto and auto advanced, and when you have it on auto, it will run for 8 seconds, and then I believe it is, I want to say it is 60 meters, which ends up being 71 yards. So it's sort of time and distance based automatic canceling of the turn signals. Then when you have it on Auto Plus, for any of you that are familiar with Subarus, and I'm not sure if other car makers do this, but Subaru has a feature where if you just press the turn signal stalk down about halfway, you know, just a little bit, it will do a 4 flash signal. So it's great for changing lanes. You just press it down, you get 4 flashes automatically, and then it turns off. You don't need to worry about it. The Trident does the same thing, and this is something I don't think a lot of people have talked about, and it's really great. I love it. You do a quick flick. Let's see if I can do it here, and you get 1, 2, 3 flashes, and that's it. So it's great for changing lanes. It's great for just a quick signal that you don't want to have to leave, or don't want to have to worry about canceling, or worry about the distance or anything like that. But then just if you hold it a long time, 1, 2, let's say hold it 3, then you get the full 8 seconds and the regular distance. Okay. So my question is, why doesn't everybody have this? If Triumph can put it on their least expensive model, then I guess it's only a matter of time before everybody is doing something like this, or they should. My previous bike was a Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson has had self-canceling turn signals for a long time, and theirs work a little bit differently. I think Plus they have the signal buttons on the left side and the right side. But yeah, that's my question. Like, there's even more expensive bikes in Triumph's lineup that don't have this feature, and so I think it's kind of only a matter of time, and hopefully everybody starts adding it, because it's great. I love it. I can't remember how many times I have almost gotten taken out through my own fault by leaving the turn signal on. Remember one time I had the left turn signal on because I made a left turn, left it on, and then all these other cars wanted to take left turns in front of me from oncoming traffic, because they thought I was turning left at that intersection and I was trying to go straight through. And when you don't realize that's what's happening and you start blaming the other cars, you're like, oh, what are these crazy people doing? Why are they turning in front of me? And they're like, oh, I have my turn signal on. They thought I was turning because that's what I was indicating. And so it's really a great safety feature, so you don't have to worry about that. I think especially for people that learn how to drive a car first and you get used to the convenience of a self-canceling turn signal, then it just makes sense to put them on bikes, especially, you know, like I said, if it's a bike that is a second mode of transportation, or, you know, kind of a weekend toy or something like that. All right, the other thing I like, and that's a good place to show it off right there, is the handling. Part of it is because of the way the bike is built, but and Triumph just has great has a great chassis and great handling on all their models. But of the 4 bikes that I've owned, this is definitely the best handling. I would say the Street Twin that I had a few years before, had a 2016 Street Twin. It was a good handling bike. This is a great handling bike. The Street Twin would be in the middle of a turn and just, it never felt happy with a line. That's the best way I can describe it. It always kind of wanted to wander, or kind of wanted to go around and shift lines, or didn't really want to hold it. This will hold a line, but then if you want to correct that line, or you want to tighten that line mid-turn, it'll do it. It's almost telepathic. You just look where you want to go and it goes. So that's just one thing I love. This thing is just so fun, and that's the main thing to remember if you're thinking about this this motorcycle, is what it's designed for. And I think it's really designed to be as easy to ride as possible and as fun to ride as possible. So where those two things meet, so there's bikes that can definitely outperform this, but they might not be as easy to ride. So you can have more fun, but this hits the sweet spot. This is where ease to ride and fun factor meet. Okay? So that's the thing to remember, is, yeah, sometimes they sacrifice performance with convenience and ease. They'll talk later about I think the clutch and the throttle are a good indicator of that, but where it really is fun is the handling and how light and flickable it is. I'm planning some trips to go up to the mountains in North Carolina here in the next couple weeks, and that's when I'm really gonna try to see what it can do and get to enjoy it. So I will say, another thing that I like is, and this is a good way to put it, so I'm right about 47 miles per hour right now. The air is very clean. Now obviously it's a naked bike, there's very little wind protection, but there's a good bit from the clock right here. And I've heard that the Triumph screen does add a little bit more, and I'm waiting for Dart to come out with a windscreen. I did email customer service for Dart a few weeks ago and asked them if they were going to be coming out with something for the Trident, and they said they had just bought the bike and we're working on putting one together. So I'm looking forward to that. But you know, this is not a bike that you're going to get for full weather protection. That being said, though, I think sometimes a windscreen, while it can protect your body, it sometimes has a negative effect on the noise and the buffeting, you know, because it moves that air that would be hitting your chest up to around your helmet. You get head shake, your helmet wobbles, it becomes uncomfortable, it can be really loud. My first motorcycle, the Honda CB500X, loved that bike, great bike. A lot like this in a way, weighed a little bit more, not as powerful, but it was a really good handling bike. But one of the reasons I ended up selling it is that it was so loud. And you can say, oh, it's a motorcycle, they're supposed to be loud. Not true. Or, you know, just put in some earplugs, you'll be fine. You're supposed to wear earplugs anyway. That's true as well. But you know, it was louder than it had to be. And that was the main thing. And there wasn't much you could do. There's different windshields I tried. Now here's the thing. Taking the windshield off actually made the noise a whole lot less. So there was a design flaw with that windshield where it was just so loud. It sounded like a jet engine taking off right next to your head. So the nice part about this is that it keeps the clean air at helmet level, and there's not a whole lot of wind blast on my chest and not a whole lot of noise. I would say below 50 miles per hour. So most of the speeds that you're going to be riding at, if you're using this in town or commuting, it's going to be a really quiet bike. I'm not wearing earplugs right now, and depending on your helmet, of course, and depending on how tall you are, it's really good for keeping the air around your helmet clean. Makes it a lot more comfortable, makes it a lot more quiet. All right, so another thing I like, and I'll talk about the comfort a little bit, is how light it is, and just how easy it is for me at least, to flat foot. Now I'm between 5'10", 5'11", depending on which convenience store I'm walking out of. Thank you, Ron White. And I can flat foot this really easily with a good bend in my knees. So I think somebody even a lot shorter would be able to flat foot this. Now, why is that important? Because some people are like, well, you should only put one foot down at a stoplight. Okay, true. But if you're a beginner, or you're getting back into riding, or you're riding this maybe as a second bike, or getting, whoa, yellow jacket. Okay, did not want that bug flying into my helmet. He looked like he was angry. Hello. Ah, nice BMW. All right, so it's comfortable in that the comfort of the bike serves its ease of rideability, or making it easy to ride, or easy to learn how to ride. You can flat foot it pretty easily. Part of that is this little narrow area between the tank and the seat, where you stand over. There's bikes, a lot of cruisers, a lot of big cruisers, they're really wide, and then maybe they have a low seat height, in the 20s, 25, 26 inch seat height, but they're so wide that you have to, move your legs way out right and left to either side, to be able to flat foot it and to be able to hold it up at a stoplight. And so with my last bike, my Harley, in some cases it was not easy to stand over and to balance, even though it had a low seat height. The floorboards and the engine and the tank and everything stuck way out, and that made it sometimes more difficult to hold at stoplights, and to just be comfortable sitting on when you weren't moving. And when you get moving, all that goes away. But if you're a new rider, I think it helps to have that confidence to be able to flat foot it, and so part of that's really the narrowness. Now that narrowness also comes into play where you can you can grip the tank really easily. And my knees come right just below the tank. There's a little plastic indentation there, and that's where my knees go, so they're actually under the tank. They don't go up on the tank cutouts here, but they're just below it, and so you're almost gripping the bike underneath the tank, and that makes it really, again, confidence inspiring, easy to ride, easy to hold on to, and that makes it more fun. I also think that kind of aids in the handling a little bit too. You grip that tank really tight and get around corners easier. The upright handlebars, again, put your helmet into some cleaner air, and that's nice. Easy to sit on. You know, it's a very friendly, user-friendly cockpit. So my legs are at a slight bend, but there's still a good bit of distance between the pegs and the seat, so you're not bent way up and they're not too far back, but they're just enough to make it sporty and easy to ride. The handlebars, I would say they're almost at that perfect spot where you're leaning forward on them enough to get good control. But there's no pressure, so I can still lean forward, but there's not any undue pressure or a weight on my wrists, and so very comfortable that way. So you're sitting not straight upright, 90-degree angle, you're leaning forward just enough so that you feel like you're holding, you can push down on the handlebars if you want, and really get a lot of control. And again, that helps with the good handling, but it also helps with that building confidence and making it really easy and fun to ride. The seat, this is probably going to be in my likes and dislikes. So the shape of the seat is great for that narrowness and the stand over, easily a flat foot. Is it the most comfortable seat in the world? No. It's kind of starting to break in after a few hundred miles. It's a little softer, or maybe my butt's just being broken. That sounded wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just getting more used to the seat than the seat is getting used to me. We'll put it that way. So, but also the foam can soften up and get a little more pliant after a while. But it's still not the most comfortable in the world. If you were gonna have a long day in this, you might want to take a lot of breaks or have some kind of pad, or I've got an Alaskan butt pad that's really also like a sheepskin pad that helps with airflow and provides a little extra cushion. If I take this on a longer trip out of town, I'll probably put that on there. So the seat it's kind of a like and a dislike. I like the shape of it. I like that it's fairly supportive, but it's slowly breaking in. Some people didn't like the covering on it. It kind of has this salamander skin covering. Feels a little bit weird, but I really like it. Sometimes with the texture, you collect dust and other sand and other particles in there, or stuff can get in there. This is just really easy to clean and wipe down and keep it looking good. It kind of has just a nice natural matte finish that you don't have to, it's pretty maintenance free. Alright, here's something I really love. There's something about that noise, that growl. This is the first triple I've had. I've never rode a triple before I got this bike, and it's just right in between. It's like it's in between a twin and a four-cylinder. Like, yeah, but it's somehow better than both. It's like it's just the best noise, especially when you really get up there into some higher revs. Or like on a turbo engine, where you really rev it up, and then you shift or you let off the gas, and you hear that whine like start to idle down. It's almost like that. You get this really cool noise after you get up into a high rev, a higher RPM, and then shift or let off. It just it's addictive. That's all I can say about it. Is it just makes this addictive noise that you just want to go somewhere where you can just rev it over and over again. There are other bikes that make a great noise. I think it's mostly intake on this. I have the stock exhaust. I'm probably going to keep the stock exhaust on there. It's you can't really replace the exhaust with just a slip-on for a few $100. You got to do a full system change, headers and everything. It's gonna be at least $1,000 right now for the ones that are already out, and that again is turning the bike into something that I think it's not. If you just really love the sound and want a couple extra horsepower, then go ahead. It's your bike, do what you want with it. But that's not for me. I don't want to try and turn it into a street triple. And you can throw a lot of parts at this and throw a lot of money at it and trying to get it to go faster and sound better, and you would have been better off just buying a street triple. Nice day to be on the lake. But the sound is great. The exhaust is not. It's really quiet. The Street Twin, in my opinion, probably has the best sounding stock exhaust of any bike. Definitely any bike I've ever owned, including the Harley. The stock exhaust on the Harley sounded actually surprisingly quiet. Yeah, the Street Twin just sounds great. I do miss that bike. I miss that sound. But this sounds better on throttle. This sounds better when you really get on it and you want to see it do something. That it's just a glorious, addictive sound. And that's one of the things I love about this bike. I do plan on keeping it for a long time. I say that a lot, but I mean it this time. Another thing I really love, and this is another subjective thing, but I love the dash. I love how on the top side it just tells you exactly what you need to know. They do put a lot of information in there. You get the gear indicator, you get the speed, you get the fuel level, and you get your RPMs. And so it tells you just what you need to know in a way that's really easy to read and nothing else. Could they have made it bigger? Yeah. And there is some wasted space around in this area. You know, you get this big round dial and you expect to be able to see that whole circle, but maybe it's hard to design a screen that fills up the entire circle. They were able to do a half circle there, so I don't know. But this kind of bike, the riding that you're going to do with it, you're not going to be staring at the screen all the time. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to look down every once in a while. And even with the sitting position, you probably notice the camera barely picks up the instruments, because the field of view is everything way out in front. And that makes it confidence inspiring to me, and again easier to ride, because there's nothing in front of you to distract you. Nothing really gets in your way. It just feels very open, and almost like you're floating or flying, and the bike's not even there, or the bike is attached to you. That's probably the best way to explain it is as you're riding, the bike just kind of disappears, and it's under you, it's there, it's just sort of like, you know, you don't walk around staring at your shoes while you're walking or you're running. When you're riding, it's there when you need it, but it just sort of disappears and gets out of the way when you don't. So I really like it. The Street Twin had just the single round dial as well, and it did show. Oh goodness, why are you like this? Who hurt you? Who? What's wrong? It's okay. It's okay. And so with the Street Twin, it had that more classic speedometer needle that would go around, but it didn't have a tachometer, and or it had one where you could do a digital tachometer and it would read it out. The Harley had the same thing, where there's no tachometer, and it was way down on the tank, so you'd have to look all the way down at the tank to see your speed. So I like this better than both of those. The Honda had actually a similar one where it did the revs across the top, but this is, I think it was a light screen with darker letters, and this is opposite, where you get the black screen and the white letters. This is a lot easier to read, so that's one of the things I really like about riding this bike, is just how functional and easy to use and easy to read the instruments are, without it being in your way. I also think they did a really, Triumph did an awesome thing with the dash below, where you can change it out and have it how you want it, so that if you want to see different information, it's right there, touch of a button, to change that screen and get different things. It's also interesting, like if you, this is the one I have it on most of the time, is the time, the date, and the gear indicator. I like having that big gear indicator up there. The letter's almost bigger than than the speed indication. But it's kind of surprising that they didn't have at least one screen that you could configure on your own. I think that was a missed opportunity. If I had to offer any feedback to Triumph, like they're listening, but if I had to offer any feedback, it would be to make one of those trays customizable, and so you could put in what you wanted. You know, maybe you just want odometer, trip, and gear indicator, or you want to be able to, like, you have these 3 lines here, and be able to, you know, put whatever you want in those 3 lines of information.